through the semen of the father. The soul enters along with the semen of the father and it merges with the ovum of the mothers. Then what happens? These details are there in Canto 3, chapter 31 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first few verses. I am going to read it out to you now. Now, I think this sitting place is having a little less light, and I must move a little that side. No matter what, it's looking a little less bright. Right. Okay. Come this side. Okay. So now I open this Bhagavatam 3rd canto, chapter 31. It says on day 1 what happens. Day 1 the merging happens. Day 5 what happens. And see here it is. Canto 3, chapter 31, verse number. See, on the first night, when the sperm and the ovum mix, and on the 5th night, the mixture ferments into a bubble. On the 10th night, it develops into a form like a plum. And after that, it gradually turns into a lump of flesh or an egg, as the case may be. You see, egg means in the case of birds, it becomes an egg. In case of humans, it becomes the flesh, lump of flesh. Then what happens? In the course of a month, a head is formed. So when we are in the mother's womb, what is our story? That's what Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching. See, Srimad Bhagavatam has everything because it is the essence of the Vedas and even more. So Srimad Bhagavatam has even science. Where do we get science in Vedas? In Ayurveda, we find science. And so whatever science related to body is there, whatever science related to money making is there, calculation is there, health is there, mental health is there, everything, and even how to make wealth. You will get everything in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna Ravindra Shukla ji, Dandat Pranams, Hare Krishna Manoj Wadhwani ji. So now my dear friends in Facebook and my YouTube friends, so now listen, it's a very interesting topic and I'm going to cover only up to the verse number 15 because I read only till there today. Carlisto Inseno, Hare Krishna. I don't understand your language. Sorry for that. So Deepak Satoteji, Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna. So you see, then what happens when we are in the mother's womb? We just now discovered we just now heard that how on the first night the sperm and the ovum mixes, and in the 5th night how it becomes a bubble. In the 10th night it becomes a lump of flesh or it forms into an egg. Then what happens? In 1 month the head is formed. In the flesh you get the head formed. In the mother's womb, head is formed of the baby. And at the end of 2 months, hands, feet and other limbs take place. The hands, feet, legs, whatever limbs are there, that takes place, takes shape. By the end of 3 months, nails, fingers, toes, body hair, bones, skin appear as the organ of generation and other apertures in the body, namely eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth and anus. Okay. So then within 4 months from the date of conception, the 7 essential ingredients of the body, namely the 7 dhatus as per Ayurveda. Okay. In English it is written as the chyle, blood, flesh, fat, bone, marrow and semen come into existence. At the end of 5 months, hunger and thirst make themselves felt in the baby. And at the end of 6 months, the fetus enclosed by the amnion. Amnion means I do not know what. I don't know whether it is the uterus or what. I am not sure, my dear friends. Sorry for my ignorance. But enclosed by the amnion begins to move on the right side of the abdomen. And Prabhupada says, if it is a boy baby, it moves to the right of the abdomen. If it is a girl baby, it moves to the left of the abdomen. Prabhupada writes like that. She tries to move on the left side. Varalakshmi ji, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Then deriving its nutrition from the food and drink taken by the mother. the fetus grows and remains in that abominable residence of stools and urine, which is the breeding place of all kinds of worms. You see, so what happens is the baby is sleeping in the mother's abdomen, right? So what happens is mm, it is getting its food from mother's intestine. How? From mother's intestine there is a tube. I think it's called fallopian tube, or it is called as umbilical cord, or whatever, I don't know. So here it says, see, deriving its nutrition from the food and drink taken by the mother. Okay, how Narsingh Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. See, here it's explained in the Markandeya Purana. It is said that in the intestine of the mother, the umbilical cord, see, umbilical cord, which is known as apyayani, joins the mother to the abdomen of the child, and through this passage the child within the womb accepts mother's assimilated foodstuff. In this way, the child is fed by the mother's intestine within the womb and grows from day to day. You see? So, from mother's intestine, the food goes to the baby. Hare Krishna, Sarika Jodiya ji, Pam ho. So, you see what happens? So, in this way, the child is fed by mother's intestine within the womb. You see? From mother's intestine, there is a pipe, and it's called as apyayani or umbilical cord. So through umbilical cord, food goes. Same like in Brahma's case, Brahma's from navel one, like umbilical cord, one lotus has grown, and in top of lotus, Brahma is sitting, right? And in the full stem of lotus, you have all the seven lokas, seven planetary systems, upper planetary systems, lower planetary systems, middle planetary systems, everything is there in that. Just like that, all the nutrition is coming through the mother's umbilical cord to the child. So the statement of Markandeya Purana about the child's situation within the womb is exactly corroborated by modern medical science, and thus the authority of Puranas cannot be disproved, as is sometimes attempted by Mayavadi philosophers. Now, Bhakti ji is in the kitchen making arrangements for some Ekadashi type of prasadam for tomorrow being Janmashtami. We are all fasting, and tomorrow I will be taking leave from all of you friends, because I will be in our temple at Sheshadripuram, ISKCON. At the book table, hopefully. I won't be taking class tomorrow, and even day after tomorrow I am not sure. I may or may not take class, but from Monday we will continue. Today is the last day, and I may take 1 or 2 holidays from tomorrow. Now we see. So the statement of Markandeya Purana about child situation within the womb is exactly corroborated by modern medical science. Yes, since the child depends completely on the assimilated foodstuffs of the mother during pregnancy, there are restrictions on the food taken by the mother. Too much salt, chili, onion, and similar food is forbidden for the pregnant mother because the child's body is too delicate and new for him to tolerate such pungent food. Restrictions and precautions to be taken by the pregnant mother, as enunciated in Smriti scriptures of Vedic literature, are very useful. We can understand from Vedic literatures how much care is taken to beget a nice child in society. So you see, the child is sleeping in its stool and its urine. So whatever child is, is leaving from its body, so it has to sleep in that, right? So that's why it said that in that stool and urine, in which baby is sleeping, in its own stool and urine, baby is sleeping, and in that the worms are formed. And the worms keep biting the tender skin of the baby, which is very dangerous. Ankit Sharma ji, Hare Krishna. So Ankit Sharma ji, so today we are discussing about how in the womb of the mother you and I have suffered terrible sufferings. Now we go on listening, you get it. So what happens to this baby which is sleeping in its own stool and urine, and there are worms also? What are they doing? Bitten again and again all over the body by hungry worms in the abdomen itself, child suffers terrible agony because of his tenderness. He thus becomes unconscious moment after moment because of the terrible condition. So the child feels so much. I can't even read your names on YouTube, my dear friends. Have wonderful celebrations of Janmashtami. Thank you so much. Krishna blessings bestowed on each of us. Yes, thank you so much for your blessings, Narsim Rao Prabhuji. And yes, Krishna's blessings on all of us. So then the worms bite the baby again and again, and the tender skin gets damaged. And therefore, the babies get hurt so much that they become unconscious moment after moment. And then what happens? Owing to now this miserable life, so Prabhupada writes that miserable condition of material existence is felt not only when we are out of mother's womb, but it starts right from the time of conceptions. As soon as so it says miserable life begins from the moment the living entity begins to contact his material body. The moment the jiva gets his material body, problems begin for the baby. Huh? So to get the material body itself is a problem, my dear friends. To have this body is a problem. So how to come out of problem? Use this body in the right way to be away from problems. What is the right way? Say that this body is your gift. I want to use it in your service. For which, take care of the body by drinking enough water. Take care of the body by giving it right food, not too spicy, not too bitter. So, like this, if you do, then what happens is we end up becoming happy simply by trying our best to make Krishna happy. Simply trying our best to make Krishna happy, we become happy. Even the baby in the womb, if it is praying to Krishna, it can stay happy. The minute it stops praying, and the minute, as long as we keep saying that Krishna, help me to do this activity. Thank you, Krishna, for helping me. Thank you, Krishna, for making me complete this task. Thank you, Krishna, for helping me to start this task. Like this, by thanking Krishna every now and then, what happens is that we become very, very anxiety free and happy. This is the way to be in touch with Krishna. Even as a baby in the prenatal womb, prenatal condition must be in touch with Krishna. For that, a mother can help. Baby's mother can help. Baby's mother's close relatives can help. They simply have to read Bhagavatam aloud and explain Bhagavatam. Then when the baby goes on hearing Bhagavatam, baby becomes happy. Okay. Then, owing to mothers eaten bitter, pungent foodstuffs or food which is too salty or too sour, the body of the child incessantly suffers pain which are almost intolerable. Therefore, child's consciousness is not, only because child's consciousness in mother's womb is not so much developed. Like tree, tree, if you try to burn, it won't die, correct? But if you try to burn any other animal, it will become very scared, correct? No? Because the more, and if we are in sleep and somebody tries to burn, we are not scared. We just wake up due to the burning feeling. Then we become scared, right? So, when we are in sleeping stage, how much do we understand about the suffering the body is undergoing? It is less. Like something like that, you can get a vague idea. Something like that, the baby's consciousness, it never wakes up. Consciousness never wakes up. It's little a dull stage, in the mother's womb. That is why, though there is so much pain, it is not dying in fear. So Prabhupada writes that it's very difficult to remain in such a position, but still the child has to remain because child's consciousness is not very developed. The child can tolerate it, otherwise he would die. If child's consciousness was, very developed, child would die. Koti Koti Pranam Babli Devi Ji. Hare Krishna Dandat Pranams. So then this is the benediction of Maya who endows the suffering body with the qualifications for tolerating such terrible torture. So Maya Devi is given such a nice body in the babyhood in prenatal stage that it can actually tolerate intolerable sufferings because the consciousness is not developed, and that's Krishna's mercy also. Then, my dear friends, it says that in verse number 8, this is Canto 3, chapter 31, text number 8 says, placed with the amnion and covered outside by the intestines, the child remains lying on one side of the abdomen, his head turned towards his belly, and his back and neck arched like a bow. See what happens in the mother's uterus when the baby is lying here. Above the uterus or around the uterus, there will be intestine also, no? So that intestine will be almost, in touch with the baby or something like that. That's all I understand. It's covered. Covered outside means because it is lying in between, inside the mother's womb. It is, the baby is there, plus around that you will find some intestine also in some portions. Okay. Mihir Rani Debammaji, after a long time, Hare Krishna. Yes, and then so the baby in the mother's womb is really suffering, lying in one position, crouching, that is bending the head towards the knees of the baby. It's terrible position to stay for 9 months. 9 months, just imagine bending like this and sitting in the mother's womb. We all have done that, my dear friends. We all have done that. That much suffering is a lot for us. And then you have here, the child thus remains just like a bird in a cage without freedom of movement. See, no movement, like a caged bird. Okay. At that time, if the child is fortunate, he can remember all the troubles of his past 100 births. Only fortunate children. Not all babies will remember. All the babies in the mother's womb won't remember what happened in the past. Only fortunate babies are given the memory of last 100 births, how many sins the baby has committed. And that is why this punishment, like Lord is reminding, like when you go to hell, you are reminded, you are reminded when you're walking and the dogs start biting you, every bite you're reminded of all your sins which you have committed in the last life. Same like that, when we are in the mother's womb, if we are lucky, we are reminded of 100 lifetime sins which we have committed. So therefore, Das Raju ji Hare Krishna, Harita Mathuri ji Hare Krishna. So what happens is the child understands that, and it feels very sad. Oh my God, 100 lifetimes, what all sins I have committed. The child feels very bad. And then when the child is worrying about its mistakes, its sins of 100 lifetimes in mother's womb, only a fortunate child is given the memory. I repeat, Chanchla Thakurji, Dandat Pranam, Hare Krishna. And Kiva also, Hare Krishna. So then what happens, then the Kapila Muni is telling all this to his mother Devavati about how once we get human body, after going to hell and suffering various hog, dog bodies, and then getting better animal body, better animal body, better animal body, finally after getting again second time human body, then what all mistakes, what all sufferings in the mother's womb before getting human body, before coming out with human body, what all sufferings we undergo in another hell called mother's womb. Okay, Ram Narayan Mandal ji, Radhe Radhe, Pradeep Mohanta ji, thank you so much for being a follower. I will be very happy, Pradeep Mohanta ji, if you can listen to this Bhagavatam nicely and you can apply that and you become follower of Bhagavatam. Okay, Pradeep Mohanta ji. If you are my follower, you should be Bhagavatam's follower. Okay? Bhagavatam, because I am a follower of Bhagavatam. You also follow Bhagavatam. You listen to Bhagavatam instructions. You correct your mentality and never come back to enter into another mother's womb and suffer like this baby. Okay, Pradeep Mohantaji. Okay, my dear friends, let's continue. So at that time, if the child is fortunate, he can remember all the troubles of his past 100 births and he grieves wretchedly. So here Prabhupada is written that after the birth of a child may forget about the difficulties of his past lives. And Prabhupada is saying that if we do not believe in scriptures, that's a different question. But if we believe in scriptures, then we must prepare to get freedom from this kind of entry into mother's womb next time. Yes, thank you, Pradeep Mohantaji. So you see that is possible. Prabhupada says, if we do not believe in scriptures, that's a different question. But if we have faith in the authority of such descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam, then we must prepare for our freedom in the next life. Yes, we should prepare for freedom in the next life that is possible in this human form of life, Pradeep Mohantaji. It's possible in this yes, okay. Okay, now one who does not take heed of these indications of suffering in human existence is said to be undoubtedly committing suicide. If we don't put an effort to not take another birth in another mother's womb, if we don't put an effort, it's like we are committing our spiritual suicide. We have a spiritual life to go back to Krishna. We have a spiritual life to go back to Krishna. Instead of going back to Krishna, if we are simply living to entertain our desires, if we are simply living to entertain our desires, then we have to again take birth to fulfill our remaining desires which we could not entertain. So therefore, my dear friends, you have to be very, very cautious to just live to understand Krishna's desires and to live to fulfill Krishna's desires. That too, not on our strength, by praying to Krishna, Krishna, please help me to do what you said. And when you say, Krishna, please help me to do what you said, then you do, then you start trying to do whatever you want to do to please Krishna. And then keep thanking Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for helping me. Thank you, Krishna, for helping me. Like this, if you go on telling, then you will see that you will be experiencing a connection with Krishna from now. You can experience connection with Krishna now, Pradeep Mohanta ji. Okay, then so the next 10th verse says in 3rd canto 31st chapter verse number 10 says, thus endowed with the development of consciousness from the 7th month after his conception, the child is tossed downwards by the air that pressed the embryo during the weeks preceding delivery. Just before delivery, the baby has to come down. How it comes down? It comes down because of the airs in the embryo which presses the baby downwards. That is pressing, and that's why the baby's head turns down. When? In the 7th month. You see how nicely medical science is spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is coming from Vedas. So Vedas are true, my dear friends. Bhagavatam is the proof for that. Then Sarika Jodi ji, it is verse number 10 now going on. Okay. Canto 3, chapter 31, text number 10. Okay. So then, Hare Krishna, Krishna Gaur ji. Then what happened is, like the worms born in the same filthy abdominal cavity, he cannot remain in one place. The baby cannot remain in one place. It tries to move and struggles. It's a big punishment for the baby to be in the mother's womb. Then the living entity in this frightful condition of life, bound by 7 layers of metal ingredients, prays with folded hands, appealing to the Lord who has put him in that condition. See, it is told, Prabhupada says that when one is undergoing some surgical operation, he promises that he'll never again act in such a way as to become diseased and have to undergo medical surgery. Or when one falls into danger, he promises that he'll never make again the same mistake. In the hellish condition within the womb, the living entity is very much afraid of being born again. But when he is out of womb, when he is in full of life and full good health, he forgets everything and commits again and again the same sin for which he was put into horrible condition of existence. See, what happens is we are suffering in mother's womb when we are in mother's womb, and we will be having Hindi session later. Harish Agarwal ji, Hare Krishna. बहुरूपिया पत्रकार है, सारी दुनिया की समस्या का हल इसके पास है. बहुरूपिया पत्रकार है, सारी दुनिया की समस्या का हल भागवतम में है. पत्रकार के साथ हरीश जी नहीं है कुछ भी, वही तो कॉमेडी है. पत्रकार के साथ या फिर कोई भी बुक में सारी प्रॉब्लम का दवाई नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है हरीश जी? प्रॉब्लम क्या है? ये आप बोलेंगे कि गरीबी है. गरीबी तो दिल का है. पैसों का गरीबी से कोई खुश नसीब कृष्ण भक्त दुखी नहीं रहता. सुदामा एग्जाम्पल है, सुदाम भक्त, वो तो बहुत आनंद में था. उसके पास बहुत बड़ा गरीबी और बहुत ज़्यादा आनंद. तो इसलिए आपको पता होना चाहिए हरीश जी कि क्या दुख की बात क्या होता है. दुख की बात यह है कि माँ के गर्भ से जन्म लेना. So anyway, वो हिंदी का सेशन में हम बताएंगे. अब इंग्लिश का सेशन है तो आपको इंग्लिश सुनना होगा. इस इंग्लिश के बाद हिंदी है. So we are discussing about what is the real problem of life is not the poverty. Not the lack of wealth is not the problem, my dear friends. The problem is that we are lacking in Krishna Bhakti. We are not having Krishna Bhakti. That is the problem of, that's the root of all the problems. When we don't have Krishna Bhakti, when we don't connect to Krishna, then we connect to everything else, and from wherever we connect, from there the problem will come. Wherever you attach, from there the problem will come. But you attach to Krishna, then all problems will go. You attach to Krishna. That is why the baby is praying with folded hands, appealing to the Lord who has put him in that condition. What is the baby praying? You see? So baby is praying that the human soul says, I take shelter of the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in his various eternal forms and walks on the surface of the world. I take shelter of him only because he can give me relief from all fear, and from him I have received this condition of life, which is just befitting my impious activity. See, the baby is agreeing that my impious activities are the cause of my, my suffering in the mother's womb. Baby is agreeing. So the baby is saying that I take now shelter of Krishna. Why? Why should the baby take shelter? Hare Krishna, Kishore Nanwani ji. Nice to see you again. Why should the baby take shelter of Krishna? Because if Krishna has sanctioned our birth in a mother's womb again, if Krishna has sanctioned, then Krishna can release us from taking another birth also. If we surrender to Krishna, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So if you surrender unto me, giving up all other things that you have learned so far in Bhagavad Gita, and you just surrender unto Krishna, and then what do? I ensure that you become free from all the sins, and I take you out of this material existence. So somebody in Arabic is saying Hare Krishna, Arabic name I am not able to recognize, but Hare Krishna to you. Yes, my dear friends. So then there it says that baby prays then like this. I, the pure soul, appearing now bound by my activities, am lying in the womb of my mother by the arrangement of Maya. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him who is here with me, but who is unaffected and changeless. He is unlimited, but he is perceived in the repentant heart. To him I offer my respectful obeisance. So the baby is very much repenting, and babies, only some babies are able to see their past, only some babies are able to see Krishna. So it's a fortunate baby will pray like this, saying that there is God with me, but he is perceived in the repentant heart, but he is not affected. But he is not affected means the baby is affected, Krishna is not affected. The baby is repentant, Krishna does not have to repent, and Krishna is unlimited and the baby is limited, which means we are always small part and he is always the complete whole. He is Param Atma, we are just Atma. He is Para Brahman, we are just Brahman. So we are just Ishwar and he is Param Ishwar, like that. So there's always a difference, and we are always the servants and he is always the master. This is what we have to understand. We have to surrender, and surrender is the essence of all religions. The word Islam itself means surrender. So it says that every religion says if you surrender to Supreme Lord, all your sins will be forgiven. Every religion says that. Krishna also says that. So we have to just, and in fact, but in Krishna consciousness, we have the highest depth of knowledge which no other religion can give you, because it talks about rebirth, which other religions do not talk. It talks about what happens after death in greatest detail, which other religions do not talk. So that is why you can hear Bhagavatam to get an idea and to worship the Supreme Master and to surrender to Supreme Master. So whichever religion, so Prabhupada said, whichever religion you belong, you follow your religion with all seriousness. Become very serious in your surrender and serve the Lord with full of your heart. Serving Lord does not mean killing, because Lord never asks us to kill anybody. We just have to serve everybody. Serve in the way that the others feel happy, not others feel torture. So we have to serve. That is the essence, serve Krishna and serve others to please Krishna. Serve Krishna to please Krishna, serve others to please Krishna. That's all. Thank you, Sarika Jajodiaji. So then, my dear friends, the baby is praying, I am separated from Supreme Lord because of my being in this metal body, which is made of 5 elements, and therefore my qualities and senses are being misused. Although I am essentially spiritual, because the Supreme Person of Godhead is transcendental to material nature and the living entities, because he is devoid of such a material body, and because he is always glorious in his spiritual qualities, I offer my obeisance unto him. So he is saying, see, Krishna is not having any material body. Means we are having material body, Krishna is having spiritual body. So Krishna does not, when they say the Lord does not have body, Lord does not have form, means Lord does not have material form. Lord has a transcendental form, a spiritual form. A transcendental form Lord has. So therefore, my dear friends, so we worship the Lord with his transcendental form. And we always have to be thankful to Krishna. So I have read only this much today, and tomorrow day after I won't be able to do class mostly, and we will see you mostly on Monday, my dear friends. But now I'm going to start the Hindi session, so you can join me for the Hindi session if you wish. सोमनाथ कसौले जी, हरे कृष्णा. अभी हमारा हिंदी का सेशन शुरू होगा.